Hello, friends, and welcome to another video. This week, I'm gonna be trying rug tufting for the first time. And yes, I am armed and dangerous. Now, as some of you guys may know, I love me a satisfying craft video. From making soap from scratch to acrylic pour art, molten metal casting, hyper-realistic candle making, and whatever this is, not only could I watch this shit for hours, but when I fall down a visual ASMR satisfying craft rabbit hole, I viscerally want it. I want to do it, feel it, be it, become the swirled soap, or the cube of jelly wax, or the molten aluminum sliding into an aquarium full of Orbeez. And I have tried my hand at a few of these crafts, with varying levels of success, but certainly a fair amount of satisfaction. It looks like an amateur Yogurtland experiment.
Okay.
But it's not a fail. And for a while now, I've been seeing these videos about rug tufting, where people will seemingly materialize a rug out of thin air by running a tufting gun loaded up with yarn ever so swiftly along a piece of canvas. And not only are these videos incredibly satisfying, I love seeing the image being slowly built line by line until it's fully complete. I also think the custom rugs that people make are pretty awesome. Like, I've only ever had boring square or rectangular rugs in my life, but you can make pretty much anything, from psychedelic abstract art to giant tomatoes to scary monsters to a dripping declaration that simply says horny. Me too, friend. Me too. And a few months ago, after getting off our 52-hour train ride across the country, we ended up in my hometown of Chicago, where there just so happened to be a custom rug tufting studio, where not only did they already have everything you would need to do some rug tufting, but they were willing to let me take a stab. Literally. So I figured, even if we're a couple of years late to the trend, why not finally try my hand at making a custom rug myself? Will I be able to make anything cute at all and achieve those satisfying tufting visuals, or will this just end up being a big pile of boner kill? I guess we'll find out. So after hopping off our 52-hour Amtrak train in Chicago, we did hit up a few spots like this ancient Roman-inspired bathhouse,
Flotarium. Florida.
Yeah, I think that's what they mean. I think it's the Florida man pool.
Oh.
and this crazy high-end The Menu-style restaurant.
Still don't know what this is.
This has just been ominously left in a drawer.
And after getting our ice cream sundaes launched at us,
How do I eat it?
I don't know.
we were ready to head to Freestyle Ceramics and Tufting in Bridgeport on the south side, where we met up with Ernie, studio owner and master tufter, who was going to be teaching me the ropes, or rather, the yarn. Freestyle Ceramics and Tufting does have, as the name implies, both a paint-your-own pottery studio and a rug tufting workshop.
Someone tufted a booty. Wow, risque.
Tush tufting?
And it turns out Ernie actually added the rug tufting portion of the studio after watching videos of people tufting online. So, kindred spirit. And for someone with absolutely no tufting experience like myself, my first step, besides putting my hair up, so it's not in the rug.
Yeah.
We don't make a rug out of my own hair.
Yes.
Was gonna be to get my hands on an actual tufting gun.
Teach you the safety, the technique, everything like that.
Little tutorial. Now, from what I've seen online, these tufting guns basically just seem like magic.
Tap, 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 tap. We're gonna do it really slow, okay? For your first time like that.
But after some investigation, it seems the way these things work is that they have two pistons. One that has a threaded needle at the end of it, which will pierce through the fabric you are tufting and leave a loop of yarn behind. And another piston which has a pair of scissors on the end, which will follow behind the threaded needle and cut the loop of yarn open to create that nice shaggy effect. So it's not magic, it's just scissors. And after giving me a quick demo, Ernie handed over the tufter so I could give it a go.
Some people like to be really, really careful, like do it really slow. That is okay. And some people like, oh, I feel comfortable, I can fly in, you know? Exactly.
Yeah, Rambo.
Yeah.
And I can tell you one thing, Rambo, I am not.
Okay.
Now, a couple of quick things I learned right off the bat. First off, you have to make sure to push the head of the gun into the canvas, otherwise the yarn won't go all the way through and the tufts won't hold.
But when you tap, the gun kind of bounce back.
So you have to
make sure
push
the
more.
entire time you gotta push in, otherwise this did not really go in.
And you also have to make sure to keep your elbow upright to keep the gun perpendicular to the canvas.
Okay, your gun's not very straight like this.
Oh, got it, there we go.
Exactly.
So even if you are spraying yarn like Rambo, you cannot assume a classic Rambo power stance like this. Well, I don't know anything about Rambo actually. I just know that one Blackpink song.
Rambo. Yeah.
Besides that, one other thing to remember is that you have to rotate the head of the tufter in order to change direction.
So if you want to turn to the right, push in, turn. You gotta turn to the right like this.
You can't just randomly pull the gun to one side without changing the direction of the head, or you'll just slash your canvas.
Turn
Push
to the
in.
left. Turn to the left.
Turn the gun. And go!
And contrary to dance floor rules, you do not want to cut the rug. Also, you never want to tuft upside down. So if you want to tuft an object like a circle, for example, you want to start at the bottom, tuft all the way up to the topmost point, then stop, go back to the bottom, and tuft the other side. And all of this seemed pretty straightforward, and yet I was not doing so great, guys.
So push in. Tap, tap, tap. You're going a little too fast.
I'm going too fast.
Yeah.
Unlike with some of the other satisfying crafts I've tried, I didn't have any applicable skills in this arena.
Can you follow a line? I don't know. I don't know. Okay.
Like molten lipstick and molten chocolate have similar properties. Whipped soap and whipped frosting, not so different.
Better?
Very good.
A little bit better. A little bit
All
better.
right.
Okay.
Some of it sounded good.
But I have absolutely no experience with weaving, crocheting, needle pointing, or firearms.
Wow, this is kind of hard.
So I was shooting blind. And even though Tyler and Ernie were trying to stay positive, my test stars were looking very asymmetric.
Much better already. Look.
Yeah, I mean,
You're making progress.
that's a star.
Are you sure?
That's a star.
Potentially even disturbing at times.
What about this little arm here?
We don't talk about ours.
It's not just me, my drawing.
Thank you for falling on your sword for me. Yeah.
My drawing is not good.
And my test circle was truly just a lump.
A little lovely lady lump.
That's a lady lump right there, yeah.
I mean, I think it's a little bit better than the star. What do you think?
The only saving grace for me was that even though it seemed very difficult to get any of the test shapes to look good from the back, the front wasn't so bad.
Come out perfectly fine. Look.
Yeah, it looks cute.
Yeah.
Yes. So
looks
see, it's
cute.
very forgiving on this side.
Oh,
Yes.
it's so soft.
Yes, exactly.
I wouldn't say it looked good from up here,
All right. I'm feeling maybe a little bit more confident.
but it was a bit harder to see how bad it truly was.
This looks like the scrawlings of a madwoman.
Zodiac's off.
So with expectations now at an all-time low, the tutorial round was over.
Looks like she's trying to say something to us.
It's like she's trying to tuft something, I know it.
And it was time to try and make an actual rug. Now, as we said before, with rug tufting, you can pretty much tuft anything you want. And though I was tempted to tuft an also horny rug, Ernie let us know that words, and especially cursive words, are some of the hardest things to do. And we all saw what just went down at the test wall. So we decided to keep our expectations on my ability low and go for something that would be simple enough for my skill level, but still on brand.
I'm intimidated.
You're intimidated?
Yeah, I'm a little intimidated.
Yeah,
I want to do this. I'm just nervous about it.
So our graphic designer, Diana, whipped up a very cute, what I would call night sky blob,
Yay! Okay, that's our image.
that Ernie projected onto a piece of canvas for me to trace out as a pattern to follow.
Are you relocating down there?
Don't judge my methods.
With some simple elements inside, like a moon and some clouds, and then a couple of items with a few spicy details to make the design a little more intermediate. Specifically our bat and the contours of our bat's little head. And even though it is a pretty simple design, I still think it's cute, and I hope you do too.
Wow, look at that cloud that Ernie definitely didn't help me draw.
And once our design was all traced out, it was time to pick out our yarn we were gonna use.
The yarn! Hello, yarn. Good morning, yarn.
Now, I've been admiring this rainbow yarn wall in the back pretty much the entire time,
Yeah, too much to choose from, right?
Just silence, just looking.
as it seemed like Ernie had basically every color of yarn that you could imagine, kind of like the Vogue shoe closet, but for yarn.
Let's go to mood.
Good mood.
And I thoroughly enjoyed this part.
It's too bright.
Too bright.
Yeah, it's too bright.
Get out of here.
In fact, if Ernie is looking for someone to just tend the yarn and help people pick out yarn colors,
This is fun.
I would happily volunteer. And after some careful consideration,
Oh, that's not bad. It's a bit lighter, but it has like some purple elements in it.
we ended up grabbing a deep blue for the night sky, a warm yellow for the twinkling stars,
This one looks more like a starry night yellow.
a lilac color for the bat, a periwinkle for the clouds, and a white and pink for the moon and its shadow.
Oh, that could be
The contrast is actually bigger for this one.
A pretty good color palette, in my opinion.
I like it.
I think it could be a cute rug.
I think it's definitely gonna be a cute rug.
But after stalling at the yarn wall, it was time to try and tuft this thing. And Ernie explained that the best strategy here would be to tuft each individual element of the design first, and then do the background last, to make sure that the elements were as clear and defined as possible and didn't get crowded out. Starting with the moon, since it was the largest and simplest shape.
And then we can do the cloud, the star, and then we save the back.
Save the bat for last.
Yeah, for the last.
But even though it was supposed to be the easiest, that didn't mean I still couldn't mess it up.
Oh. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this on for you, and then you turn the gun to that direction, and then tap, tap, tap.
And with everyone holding their breath, I went for my first stroke. And somehow, from the depths of my soul,
Hell yeah, dude.
pulled out a decently even, nicely curved, continuously tufted line for the outer rim of our moon.
Oh, very good. Yay! Perfect.
That's perfect.
Should I repeat that? That is perfect.
And we all breathed a collective sigh of relief.
No, I don't know if I'll ever be able to recreate that moment.
Why don't we call it quits?
Yeah. I might have just
So let me
peeked.
finish the remaining. Like,
The rest of the video is just Ernie's face deep faked onto yours. Just
I have to paint in the same nail polish, and then like, we do it.
I think after the tutorial, even I was thinking we may not end up with a finished rug at all, but here was a glimmer of hope. And dare I say, I was building some momentum. Although it didn't hurt that I had both Tyler and Ernie watching my every move like a hawk,
that pressure up. That can perpendicular. Don't tilt.
so I don't know if I can take all the credit.
Like how you're like my coach.
Well, I'm like looking right at your hands.
And after 3 more lines to finish the outline of the moon, bada bing,
It's my little pet. It's soft already.
it was time to fill in the moon by basically tufting long vertical strokes in the inside of it.
Keep that parallel.
Yeah, you can't go to the other side. I need you over here.
Okay.
And I feel like we were kind of getting into a rhythm, the tufting gun and I.
I'll try and go a little tighter, maybe. Oh, turn on. I literally forget every time. I'm just like ready to go.
Well, that's good safety protocol.
We started off as foes, and now we were more like friend adjacent.
You know what tie with the Tufting gun would be good for?
What?
Remember that like electronics like symphony? Like Toxic by Britney Spears played on electric toothbrushes?
Oh, it would be great for
It would be so good at that,
It
right?
has a little bit of a melody to it.
It does.
Yeah.
But before we could send the tufting gun to the device orchestra, we still had a lot more rug left to tuft.
Right.
What do we think?
Very nice.
Yeah?
Yes, you're done with the moon.
Done!
Yeah.
Done with the moon. Oh, it looks pretty good. It looks shaggy, fuzzy.
Oh, it feels so nice.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, Cosmo's gonna love this.
Oh my God, are you kidding? Cosmo will just undo all of my work.
That is true.
One of Cosmo's signature moves is to de-tuft rugs, actually.
So next up, in order of increasing difficulty, we had to add the purple shadow to our moon, which was kind of intimidating because I had to match the curve of the moon that I had just made.
Oh, nope. Yep.
And since it was kind of a skinny element, rather than filling it in with straight up and down vertical lines,
I would recommend to curve your gun to fill in like this.
Let's see if we can do that.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can do that.
so I attempted a few curvaceous banana hammocks to fill in our shadow. And even though I had kind of a rogue tufting moment here, where one of my tufts fell out, I learned that some mistakes are easily fixed by a little detour of stitches.
Let me see this side. No, it's good. This side looks good.
Oh, sneaky sneak.
So I'm gonna continue to claim I was doing well so far.
It kind of looks like a little like wig.
It looks a little bit like a mohawk, yeah.
Yeah, like a mohawk.
Yeah.
A moonhawk.
Yeah, or like a unicorn.
And we also decided to double down on our moonhawk by adding on a little moon goatee.
Soul patch.
A soul patch. Yeah.
And then we were ready to move on to our 2 clouds, one of which was high enough on the canvas so that I had to stand and tuft, which it turns out I'm not very good at.
I'm really bad when I'm standing.
You are bad at when you're standing.
I don't know, it's just something about it. I can't stand and think.
Can't stand and tuft.
Yeah,
You can't stand and think, actually.
I can't. I don't have enough blood in my brain.
I think it might be something about the angle or the visibility. I guess I'm just not that good at standing.
How do you feel about that?
Very good.
I was holding my breath the whole time.
Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah, I was clenching my butt, yeah.
But after filling in cloud number 1 and successfully humping cloud number 2,
I'm coming around the mountain. All right, now I'm starting back in the valley, returning to the hump.
Return to hump.
everything was looking pretty good.
Boom. Beautiful. Clouds.
And we were ready to move on to our 3 stars.
This is the exact kind of spot where I could just ruin it completely.
Don't say that.
It is though.
some foreshadowing. Now, because our stars were more like twinkles, they were made up of 4 curves that did have to be kind of identical.
Don't take it out. Turn it back. Let's go.
Let's go!
Let's go.
Let's go! And I did have a bit of a hard time replicating the curves from one side to the next, so they ended up looking a bit wonky.
The head is a little thicker than the bottom.
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
And I found that filling in our stars was also pretty difficult since they were so small.
Is that okay?
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm getting a little messy over here.
But after attempting to make our first star as cute as possible, using almost like the same kind of technique you would use to try and fix uneven eyeliner,
Should we add like a little more here or no? Is that not possible?
To balance a little bit?
Yeah.
If you wanted to, yeah, we can add a little bit more here.
a little more over here and then a little more over there,
Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better.
I moved on to the other 2 stars to see if I could do any better.
It's a little crazy back here. How does it
It
look?
doesn't matter. It looks good
Okay.
on the outer side.
And though there may have been incremental improvements, it still wasn't great.
It's a party in the back, business in the front?
Yeah.
Business in the front, party in the back?
Yeah.
Party in the front, awful in the back?
This could also have been like an endurance problem,
I actually think that the mullet principle like heavily applies to rug tufting.
because after a few hours of working on our rug, I was certainly feeling the burn in my hands and arms. So I regret to say that the stars did leave something to be desired.
The second star looks good.
Yeah.
The third star looks like a merkin.
But merkin or not, it was time to move on to our hardest element, the bat. Now, we'd been dreading the bat the entire time because not only was it a complex shape, but it was also symmetrical and small.
Here goes nothing. Ooh.
No, it's okay.
And even though the bat shape had lots of peaks and valleys, Ernie suggested that we tuft it in just a few continuous strokes.
Get that curve down. Here you go. Discard that stool. You don't need a stool.
Get out of here, stool.
Like with the bottom of the wing, which was absolutely terrifying, but went okay.
Very good.
What do we think?
See?
That's not bad at all.
Unfortunately, I learned as I went, so my second wing was better, resulting in the 2 wings being kind of different looking.
Right.
Oh, that's a wing.
Yeah, you think?
Yep.
That's morbid time.
Yep.
And then for the top of the wings, we went for like a swoop and a swoop, which I then had to attempt a mirror on the other side as well.
Same thing. Finish this side. Let's talk about it later.
We'll talk about the head later.
Yeah, let's finish that part.
We'll worry about the head
That's
later.
a whole 5 minutes away right now, okay?
Exactly.
Don't even pretend, that might never even happen. A comet might hit us, okay? So don't worry about it.
But after finishing off the wings, there was no way around it. It was time to approach the head. Now, originally, our bat head was made up of quite a few lines and 2 very tiny ears, but given the size of the canvas and the fact that my aim was still a work in progress, Ernie helped us slightly alter the design to be more like 3 concave curves.
Should it be like this instead?
Yeah.
Right?
And thank God we altered it, because I could barely do this.
That was just a straight line. I need more curve.
Yeah, get more action there.
The small design meant I was kind of like shooting blind into the shag, like a bat in a cave.
Like that?
All right. Yes, I think that's better definition for sure.
And I actually did make a few tufting mistakes here.
What does that look like on the other side?
Ooh,
A little funky. Are we missing 1 stitch at the end?
it looks like it.
And though you can kind of pull out a few tufts and try a stroke again, you can't really do that more than once in any given area.
One more. Okay.
Or you will strip your canvas kind of like how you can strip a screw.
Can I go in?
Yes.
All right.
So Ernie may or may not have given me a pinch tuft to finish off little Batty's head.
Look at that. Look at that.
That definitely looks like a bat.
Look at that. That looks like a bat.
That looks like a bat.
And even though he looked a little fluffy from the front, we were ready to fill him in.
What do you think, Ty?
Looking great.
Shagadelic?
Shagadelic.
It could easily be unshagadelic very quickly.
And with that, we finally had all our elements tufted.
I think yours is good. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it looks okay.
Yes.
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not. Why would I be surprised? That's
sounded a little
expected,
surprised.
right?
And we were ready to implement our night sky.
It's a nice bushy bat.
A bushy bat.
No, it is. Well,
So on the road to finishing our rug, we then had to outline the rug itself, so our actual night sky blob shape.
Yeah.
it looks kind of like a giant fried egg.
It is giving egg. Yeah.
And then we also had to outline all of our elements in our background yarn color, which is meant to help define the shape of all of the different elements in your rug, and also make sure that the yarn inside those elements is nice and densely packed.
Ready? Here goes nothing.
Yeah. All right, stay frosty here.
That did mean I had to basically re-tuft all of the same shapes of everything I had just tufted, which wasn't easy, especially with our bat, and my sworn enemy, our bat's head and ears.
Last part.
Here we go.
But even though it took me a while, I do think it helped add some definition to our little guy.
Like that? Question mark?
Even if he had a wonky ear or two.
Kind of like a devil. Oh! That little trim work. That looks amazing.
Okay,
That looks amazing.
I think it's good.
Yeah, you gotta come out and look at it.
I'm coming.
And I think we could call that outlined.
Oh, he's cute. Isn't he? I mean, are we really gonna do better than that?
No.
And with everything outlined,
The thing I actually think I did the worst on was the stars.
Probably.
we were ready for our final tufts.
Now we fill it in. Now we fill it in.
Okay.
AKA filling in our background with long vertical strokes.
Look at that. Look at that line.
All right, so a bunch more of those.
Yeah, a bunch more of those, exactly.
Which is kind of tedious work, but it's much easier than tufting actual shapes, and it does really give off some satisfying time-lapse visuals.
It's like in like kid pics when you have like the fill-in.
You know what? It sounds like kid pics right now.
It does.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I actually found this part to be kind of fun and chill,
It's very fulfilling after you finish this part.
but we had been tufting for a few hours already, and in order to make sure Ernie didn't have to keep her store open into the night for us to finish our rug, she and I tag-teamed this part a bit, just because I was going pretty slow and deliberate, and Ernie was obviously much faster. She is the master tufter after all. So we were soaring, nay, flying across the canvas. And after doing this for quite a while,
Last little patch, ready?
Yeah.
Little baldy over here.
Yeah.
we finally arrived at our last strokes. And after a quick tap, tap, tap,
Sounding good? Is it sounding good?
Well, it passed my check.
Oh!
All right!
amazingly, we were done tufting.
Wow, it really does look like the graphic.
Do you think I did Diana proud?
I think so.
I'm sorry about the stars, Diana.
And we only had a few things left to do before we could take our rug home with us. First, we rolled a bunch of glue on the backside of our rug to seal the stitches in and make sure our tufts didn't fall out.
My arms are tired, I have to be honest. This gluing is a lot easier than using the gun, but I'm like tired.
Next, Ernie swooped in with a heat gun to quickly seal the glue and make sure it was dry, after which we cut our night sky blob out of the canvas to free it from its earthly tether.
Smells like hot glue back here. Smells good.
Voila, a rug and a hole. Next up, Ernie and her associate Susan attached an actual rug backing to our rug with traction pads and everything.
Like bath mat style, right? Like a little non-slip action.
And then our final step was to shave this bad boy.
It looks amazing.
It's fuzzy, just like its mama.
Now, I've seen people shave their creations in a lot of the rug tufting videos I've watched. I actually find it to be a pretty satisfying step in the process.
Oh.
But after having come so far, I was a little nervous that my tired hands could slip and somehow shave my rug bald.
All right, she's
High
gonna.
stakes.
How's your hand feeling, Saf?
Tired.
Yeah?
But after a few swipes at shaving the test wall,
Sponsored by Manscaped.
By Manscaped? That would actually be a really smooth integration.
it was time for me to dig in.
All right, I'm just gonna go try one over here in the dark just to see.
Now, this was pretty tricky because you actually don't want to dig in with the clippers since that could cause a crater in the rug, but if you don't go deep enough, you actually won't end up shaving anything at all.
Is that better?
Yep, better. Yes, now you're not pulling out yarn. You're actually trimming it.
So you have to be very level and at the exact right height. And it's not that I was awful at this, but I just really didn't want to mess up all of our hard work at the last second.
Should I hand it off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
In my defense, Ernie doesn't usually let her beginner students shave their rugs themselves, but having seen it so many times, I was happy to have at least tried it. And after another pass from Susan, she was all shaved.
Done.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah, I'm
right.
glad that I didn't do it.
And with all of that, we had a finished rug, baby!
Hooray, we're done! Yes, finally! Woohoo!
Finally!
Get out of my studio!
Hi.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, that took us a while. Partially because everything is always a bit slower when you're filming it, and I was tufting very deliberately, but it's kind of crazy to think about how many TikToks about rug tufting are like a minute long, and it took us hours to tuft a rug even of this size.
About 7 hours, right?
7 hours of blood, sweat, and tears right here.
How's your hand feeling?
A little numb.
However, I am pretty happy with the final product, especially considering how we started off the day.
Yeah. No, it was in train wreck territory.
Now that's what I call character development. But now that I've learned a little bit about some of the ins and outs of rug tufting, I feel like I could do even better the next time around.
You have the itch to come back.
I have the itch to come back.
Next time you will just fly through it.
So in this satisfying craft rodeo, even though I had a few stumbles, I feel like we successfully rode the bucking bronco that was the tufting gun.
Thank you for having us. This was so fun. I'll shake your hand and then I'm gonna put my hand in ice for the rest of the night.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
This is the last action of my right hand for the rest of the evening.
And as for this guy, even though he's technically a rug, I feel like we put in too much work on him to put him on the ground. I think we should hang him up somewhere like a baby blobbish tapestry, at the very least, to save him from Cosmo's jaws. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked that video, make sure to shamash that like button, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to shamash that subscribe button. Here are our short form / social media handles, and here's our merch website. And with that, I will see you guys next time.